What's up, everyone? Today, I have a story for you. And not just any story, but it's the first time I ever done acid, which also lines up with the first time I've ever done an Opana 80. I think it was Opana, or it could have been OC. It was orange, and I could, get the rubber shit off it. But, anyways, so I had a friend hit me up, and it was a regular dude. Let's call him Slim, just for the sake of the story. Slim hits me up, says he has, acid, X for X amount for dollar value. So he gave me it was like two for whatever. Two for 20, two for 10, I don't know. So I take it, and he tells me, "Oh, put it under your tongue for whatever until until it's like all wet and like dissolvey kinda." So I did, and then I had a buddy hit me up saying, "Hey, I just stole a whole bunch of these oxys or whatever, oxy 80s from my neighbor who doesn't take them. So here, take a whole bunch of these, and if you could sell them, I'll steal more. We can make some money." So I have like 10 oxys. I take one, forgetting I have acid in my mouth, and I move on. So after hanging out with that friend for a little bit, I was notorious for like getting fucked up with just a whole bunch of people. I would start with one person, and then as soon as I'm high, I'd move on to the next, and then I get high with them, and I'd be on so many different things. It's not funny. And this is before I chose the one drug route for a couple years. So I feel anxious. I'm starting to get anxiety. I feel goofy from the acid. Start giggling, but I'm anxious. So I walk up to my buddy texts me, and let's call him K. K hits me up, says, "Hey, come over. I'm with my girl. I'm friends with this girl. Like I was friends before they started dating, and I go over there, and they were the absolute worst people to be around. Like great people. They were good friends, but they always argued and fought when they were on drugs. And this is before they sobered up, and well, one of them sobered up, so they were fighting all the fucking time, and it was annoying. But I go over there, and I'm tripping. I'm not at my peak yet. It's still the first hour, but the oxy starts hitting me, and I start feeling good. So I slipped my buddy a half of one, because I had a razor. I had a box cutter. No, not a box cutter. I had an X-Acto knife. I had an X-Acto knife from high school. So I cut it, hand it to him, whatever, and then he starts playing Tech 9. Well, the acid kicks in really hard, and here we are just blaring Tech 9, and that put me in the worst headspace, man. Non-ironically, it triggered me. I was just not vibing, and then they were arguing. Excuse that, I had to let the dog out. But it was just not a good time. But after a while, a girl hits me up that I was friends with the guy that stole the Opana. Let's call him Scarface. Scarface said, he hits me up. Oh no, his ex-girlfriend, who's kind of his friend still, hits me up because I'm friends with her. I didn't know they dated. And then we were kind of friends, and she was friends with me because of him. So she hits me up and says, "Hey, come on over." Because I'm in I'm in the area, like the hood. I'm in my hood. The hood I claimed at that time. No, it wasn't a serious thing, but I still did just because I'm a corny kid. And that's just what I was doing. That was the person I was. But I went to the hood and seen them, seeing the chick. And I was hanging out with the family. Family was cool. They were talking about the motorcycle club they were in. They weren't a 1%er, but they had to get permission from those people to wear their, to go riding sometimes. Because the politics of motorcycle clubs is huge in where I was at the time, I guess. But acid's kicking my ass. But I'm having a good time. Anxious to all hell. People are texting me because they're hearing about, I'm on acid and Opana for the first time. So they all want to see. Because they want to see how wild I am. Because I had a nickname called Shameless. It was another nickname I had, and that was just because I'd get fucked up and I would just do shameless shit, and I didn't care. Like, I would sober up and be like, oh, hell yeah. Or, I forget the other nickname. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to share it anyways. I shared one of the two, and I already feel like I'm power leveling here. So, excuse me if I say so a lot. But I'm tripping balls. I'm enjoying myself, but I still got that anxiety. I'm hanging with the chick, and my brain's like, hey. Well, the opiate side of my brain's like, hey, flirt with her a little bit. And I start flirting with this chick, and she's receptive. And I didn't know that my buddy was trying to weasel his way back into her life. She was cool. She was talking to him, but I just was not. I was oblivious, but it was fine. We're chilling. And, like after hanging out with her for a while, she offers to take me to the hookah lounge, but I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Maybe tomorrow night, because like I'm already around too many people, strangers that is, and I'm fucked up. I'm fucking drooling kinda, but I'm full of energy off the Opanas or Oxys, whatever the fuck they were. They were orange and had like a letter O something, OPOC, who knows. But I get a text from Slim. He asks me how the acid's doing, and I'm out of it. So I started just incoherently messaging him about just my night. And I get a text from Scarface telling me, like, hey, come on over, blah, blah, blah. We'll play some Call of Duty. I forget what Call of Duty was at the time. It was probably Black Ops 2. This is toward the end of mine and his friendship. Like, this is kind of like the catalyst to another story. But I'm fucked up. I'm on OCs. I take another full one because I take a lot of pills at the time. Like, I would binge. I'd take handfuls, not every day, but when I could find them. So I wasn't thinking anything of it. So I took another opiate. Still on that hit of acid. I didn't plan on taking the other hit. Like, in my brain, that hit didn't exist because for a week I didn't know it existed. Afterwards, so I'm walking. A friend decides to walk me home, and I'm fucked up. And I was real big into graffiti, so I take out this marker and I tagged a passenger window. Talking about it is just making me cringe. I was big into graffiti, but I feel so fucking terrible for this. And I wasn't the only one at that time that did that, so it was like I could count 23 instances where 23 different people did that throughout like a 5-year period. But anyways, so I make it to Scarface's house, the Opana guy. And his neighbor comes over drunk, starts like talking to me, meeting him for the first time. He says like, hey, my dad doesn't take his Opana, so you want one? So he gives me one. I take it. So that's my third. I'm on acid. He leaves. Me and my buddy decide to go on a walk. He hands me a sack of like, I want to say 180 Opanas. And this sack was kind of big too, and because he stole like 300 something, split it in half, gave me one sack. We go to a gas station. On the way there, that sack falls out of my pocket. He picks it up and doesn't say anything, and then when we get down the block to the gas station, I realize it's gone, and I panic. That motherfucker walks with me. I'm on acid, mind you. Walks with me all fucking night. Like, well, not all night, like 3 hours up and down this one street where because that's the only time I felt the sack, pulled something out of my pocket, and then don't recall feeling it again when I put that thing back in my pocket. It was probably a pack of cigarettes. So I knew I dropped it, and I marked the bag a special way, just because something in my brain told me that night, mark your bag in case you drop it and he picks it up, or someone tries to take it. So eventually I make up a story about how this motorcycle club in my city that's very prominent has a deal with me for X amount of dollars per pill for X amount of pills. And I'm freaking out. Like, I sell it. Like, I was more freaking out I ran out of opiates versus, like, losing out on a deal because I didn't have a deal. I was selling them like 30, anywhere from 10 to 30 bucks a pop for the 80s. Great deal, no matter what. Actually, 30 bucks is steep for it. It's like 20 bucks tops. Don't let anybody tell you different. Just go buy heroin if they try to sell you an $80 Oxy or an Opana. Anything above 40 actually is terrible. Just buy heroin. But anyways, so that night, I'm still hanging out with him. He has his full stash, so he's just, he gives me like 10 of them, and I'm like, cool, and, that settles my stomach a little bit. I'm still, like, trying to figure out, did he take it? Nah, that's my homeboy. He wouldn't take it. And that girl, his ex, is texting me, too. Let's call her Actress. Actress is texting me, and she's flirting with me, and my brain is like, if this motherfucker stole the pills he stole for me, I'm stealing his bitch. And it's kind of a scumbag thing to plan, to steal some dude's girlfriend or girl that he's into. And I guess I did this when I would fuck up, like when I was fucked up. If I'm at a party, I'd just go up to a girl that has some dude flirting with her, and then I would just go ahead and make the moves. I guess that's the story that was told. I have a couple real life friends that would tell me like that's what they heard too, but it's unverified. It's just what was told to me, and the person would still vouch even after we're supposed enemies. So anyways, sorry if I keep saying anyways also. But this night, we're playing Call of Duty, hanging out with a friend, and that was a turning point when I started doing a lot of scummier things to my friends that were using drugs. Because I had in my head, like, I'm taking your girl if you took those meds you fucking gave to me as a friend. And that acid trip sucked, man. I from that, like, I did acid like 3-4 more times, and I fought on acid every single time after that, and I just wasn't a fan. It gives me too much anxiety. It makes me nervous. Like, people get that way with mushrooms, but acid for me was that, like, was that thing that just made me physically feel like anxious and sick, and I hated that. That's what coronavirus made me feel like. I thought that story would last longer, but that was it. That's my first time on acid. Like, I know it's not that interesting, but I figured I'd share. I got a lot of stories of moments that stand out to me. And if I upload another video, I will correct information I got wrong here as I talk about it more, because I haven't shared any of these in like 6 years. Before I even got sober, I stopped sharing my stories. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, the gameplay, or just me talking. If you want more, request stories below. Like and share, all that shit. And I'm out of here. Have a good one, folks. Keep your eyes out for the next video.